Welcome back, everyone, to FOF Season 7. Rare Adam and Chris Edgeworth once again. We are racing through draft bans. Fiora, Rel, Misfortune for AWE, BBZ, ban Maokai, Kaisa, and the Aatrox. Picks already coming through. Ash, Nautilus, Sejuani on one side. Ivern, Blitzcrank, Callista on the other side. Red's playing Callista. I don't know whether to be fascinated or worried.
Yeah, I mean, Blue Bayou Zoo is definitely in the kitchen for this one. It's the both of them are very high in the standings. They're already going to playoffs. I'm not saying this is a for fun game. I'm saying that this is BBZ seeing if they can put Art of War Esports on the back foot in this game. I feel like with some spicy drafting. So I'm interested to see how things shake out here. The Corki getting banned away from Amid. Which I think is interesting. Corki, another champion that I have had my eye on. We saw it to great use yesterday. Mordekaiser and Swain getting banned out so far, and Art of War is going to get rid of the, as you say, the Y1 is taken off the list.
Yeah, finally taking that away from Fire Mana, and Jaffe's going to respond with the signature Shyvana top in a lot of ways. We've seen Jaffe pull it out multiple times. It's very strong right now as well. There's been some LPL top laners who've been picking it up as well, so sort of filling that out there. A very interesting draft, though, from the side of BBZ in the sense that they've kind of just picked a whole bunch of everything.
Yeah, also I would like to introduce Art of War Esports to my good friend the Mercury Treads, looking delicious in this game. I'm expecting Jaffe is going to be building that AP and doing 1 trillion damage on the top side. Ornn for the trolling you coming through. And we're seeing the Tristana coming through in the mid lane. That is the flavor of the month right now. One of the preferred AD mid laners, and it's going to be answered with, as you would expect, more magic damage, I guess. So Lissandra coming through. They have quite a bit of CC on the side of Blue Bayou Zoo. They have basically about every type of CC I think you can get, minus Nami's suspension. So they got a lot to go with there. But Art of War Esports, I think, has the much more conventional comp. But as I was telling you before we came to live, if I saw Blue Bayou's composition on the menu, I mean, I'd order it. It seems kind of tasty. I'm kind of down for it. So I'm not sure what your thoughts are. I haven't seen the draft.
It's definitely spicy. I think, Red yesterday had one of the Kaisa builds of...
Yeah, yes. Oh my god. Dude, it's 57% win rate on Lolalytics. How can you argue with that? That's just math.
There's math, and then there's, very convenient math, and I think potentially part of that was the convenience of the math. Of course, could have just been in his horoscope for the day, sort of reading it up, saying, hey, you know what, they said to build Collector Kaisa first item, and it worked out. They won yesterday in a very dominant fashion. Nonetheless, Art of War Esports trying to prevent themselves from being gate-kept by Red once again. It seems as if it's been a trend over the course of FOF years that Red finds a way to stop a Riri from winning a championship at all costs. Nonetheless, Amid pulling out this Tristana mid is interesting because Amid last season on Art of War Esports was playing ADC at the very end of that season. Of course, got shut down by some random first-time support player. I don't know. He pulled out NASA support or something in finals, but what? I had to put it out there. I had to give myself this shout out. I had to give myself a little stroke of approval there. Nonetheless, Blue Bayou Zoo, they've been on an upswing. I think they had a really rough start of the year, but since then have really picked it up. Granted, the records from a lot of these teams that are playing games are a little bit... the stats lie a little bit. There's 2 teams that have definitely been playing games. They haven't been playing games. That being Olympus and Pandas with Hats. So a lot of these records are a little bit of a a little bit of a smoke
Misnomer?
show in a way as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the the thing to point out is you should just really learn to be like me and embrace the best math, which is results-based analysis, which is why I
Yes.
can say things to you authoritatively. Like, well, obviously it's good because it's a 57% win rate for Kaisa Collector because they won, which makes it smart. So, you know, if you just learn to look at the league through that lens, you can be much happier with your understanding of the game and what you hear from the casters. We like to tell you what you want to hear. So we will get into game right now as I realized because I am doing casting and observer that I started playing the game and I did not hit transition, so I had to go back. So here we are getting into game.
Yes, and obviously with a Blitzcrank and a Nautilus, you're going to be looking for some sort of cheeky invade here, and 9 members of these two teams are showing up on this top side of the map. Jacob Dudar with Space Groove, Blitz, and Crank. Don't get it wrong, they are not one and the same there. Looking for an invade, and they're going to be walking into the opposite sides of the jungles, having no clue that they have been godded on the opposite side. Granted, Art of War Esports might be looking
Oh,
for a little bit of a
oh.
retransition through Trollsing. Might be the one in the hot seat here. Jacob Duda, rocket grab all the way back. And that's going to be Trollsing you. Having a little bit of a troll moment there. First blood goes over to Champion Red. And already, Art of War Esports have been bested by more modern tactics.
Well, I mean, you know, we just saw In the Trees, but apparently we're bringing In the Trees energy to game number 2 as they cycle through the jungle, come all the way back around, and are able to find Trolls and you just doing a little cheeky look into the jungle area. They are going to start on the same side of the map now. Ivern is starting with the Raptor camp, going to be pathing down. But with that gold in the pocket of the Callista, not able to go back and spend. Callista, wow, I like it. The commitment to getting out to where they needed to at level 1. I just want to point out, Callista still has Black Spear in inventory. Doesn't really matter until you have the W, really, just for the W passive. But the commitment from the side of BBZ to get out there and on the map for the invade, this is very interesting to note.
Yeah, very strong to sort of prevent yourself from losing that 5-second window. Jacob Dudar going to go in for a hook onto Ariri. Ariri's in trouble, slowed down. Lots of spears getting thrown into the back, and it's a second kill picked up by the side of Champion Red. Beginning this lane off with 2 kills and no partner to bind to thus far. Has done wonders for Champion Red on the bottom side.
And, well, that's just going to be another one in the pocket for them. Looking good, 2-0. Probably just gonna get this way. Oh my God, Music Boy! Wow, Jacob Dudar over here just feeling himself right now.
Yeah, Jacob Dudar just going for those aggressive hooks. Might as well. And now you can expend your Black Spear to bind to your ally there. You get a little bit of time. Everyone's still gonna reset and everything. And honestly, it's
no. Oh, she got the Berserker Greaves. That is one of the worst items to have to deal with because she scales so well with attack speed. Ashe is one of the best champions to have to deal with Callista because she has the built-in slow and really annoying because she can hit you with volley. As we see Fireman going in.
Yeah, Dax actually going to land that route as well, but actually might get turned around here. Crims is here to answer the beck and call. Dax taking so much damage. Flash over the wall from Marie just for the ignite! And it's going to be a flash forward from a mid as well. Fireman has to be careful as 4 members of Art of War Esports end up collapsing down onto that mid lane, banishing Dax to base for a couple of seconds there. It's a good strike back from the side of Art of War Esports.
Yeah, showing that they are not asleep at the wheel in this game. Yeah, it's really good that they committed to it. Nas is just knowing like, okay, well, plays aren't happening down here for me. He's gonna be found in transition. Music Boy,
yeah.
Oh no.
Ariri gets pulled back, and despite a high impact gank in the mid lane, gets very low impact on their way back to lane here. 3-0 on Champion Red. As you mentioned, the fact that Callista has the Berserker Greaves this early on makes me question the ethics of champion Red there, who's going to be an absolute monster, because not only does Callista scale very well off of attack speed, but she scales very well off of movement speed, and showing that, hey, this may be one of the first times that we've seen Red pull out the Callista here, but they do have a core understanding of how to pilot that champion in this early phase when Callista is going to be quite strong.
Yeah, that was the continuation of the point before that the gank on mid lane there is as we see another hook from Dudar. Let's go, Jacob.
Oh my goodness, so much damage being taken by Music Boy. The hook in return, though, will cause Red and Jacob Dudar to take a little bit of chip on the way out. Ariri shows back up to lane, is able to get a little bit of value there off of that Nautilus, but on this top side, Jaffe pulls the wool over the eyes, takes a nice little reset. And you thought it was going to be AP Shyvana? Nah, this is Jaffe. He's going lethal tempo, Blade of the Ruined King first item, most likely, on this Shyvana. This is the AD Shyvana of your nightmares. Just going to split push the entire game and be an absolute menace to deal with. Red, though, getting pulled back once again. Ghost going to be expended by Music Boy as well. Lots of investment for the side of Art of War Esports, but Red just dishing out the damage still, and Music Boy burns the Ghost and ends up taking the worst end of that trade nonetheless.
Yeah, and that was one thing that that I was critical of in the draft was the sheer amount of magic damage that I felt like the side of BBZ had in their comp. Jaffe going with the AD Shyvana is going to give them a little bit more diversity in their damage profile, especially since Callista, they're still fighting down here.
Yeah, Jacob Dudar, no mana, forced to use that little speed up to get out of there. We'll be able to stay alive at the very least.
Yeah, but with Callista, a lot of her damage, I mean, obviously she's auto attack heavy, but a good portion of her damage comes from the true damage of pulling out her Rend as well. So, you know, having that much more AD, straight up AD rather, even with the nature of it being, you know, sort of hybrid with the kit that Shyvana has, is much better for their damage profile. So it's actually pretty smart for Jaffe to adapt there. I know he's played Shyvana in the past. I'm not 100% certain if he's been an AD enjoyer or an AP enjoyer in the past. I'm not sure if this is him actually being flexible as he gets the dive in here on Trolls and You.
Yeah, just going to be looking for a little bit of damage. From what I remember from playing with Jaffe, Jaffe loves the AD Shyvana on the top side.
Okay.
We'll go for sort of a split pushing build. Seems to be the trend that continues here. Granted, the issue with Shyvana top lane, and this is something that we've mentioned to Jaffe before, is that you're on the opposite side of the map from dragons, and your passive is predicated on dragons. So you have to have value on that. And while it's great that Red has 3 kills and has a lot of priority over the bot lane, first dragon goes over to the side of Art of War Esports.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you have all this this tempo, you don't always, I guess, decide that what your top laner needs is important. Well, you know, as speaking as someone who does bot lane, I don't care about them. I'm, of course, being facetious, but I mean, it's just one of those things where there's not a lot Jaffe can really do about it. He's just sort of gotta, hey, if that's the way the tempo goes. They are so far ahead, you're happy to, you know, see one go by. But yeah, the second dragon going forward, all of this stuff. You would have liked to have gotten the Infernal, of course. Ocean Dragon, you know, Shyvana's not super hyped on that. Not a resourceless champion, so. But either way, she's going to want to make sure that they start stacking those dragons, that they continue to stack those dragons as close to cooldown as they can make it happen, because that's going to start buffing her up as well.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Amid gets knocked up, gets pulled back. Will they have the combo? Oh, great Buster shot going to come through. False sense of security there, it felt like, for Amid there as they get knocked up in midair, but the Buster shot still going to be enough to knock away the Lissandra. Fire Mana not finding the impact that they wanted to. What this does, in a lot of ways, is... Actually, we'll get back to that point as Jaffe on the top side of the map, going Mega Form, just going to be looking for that last little bit of damage. Daisy with a nice little knock-up, but it won't be enough. Dax just going to waltz their way out of there. Jaffe continuing to pressure this Ornn through and through on this top side of the map, as now Red has moved themselves up into this mid lane here just to get a little bit more farm. Thus far, has had a little to disappoint with this 3-0 Callista. Granted, still a lot of game to play, and one of the issues with Callista is that later on into the game, sometimes you find yourself just getting outranged.
I mean, the last game that we saw was an absolute scrap. I'm wondering if we're starting to see that emerge in this game as well. They are starting a little later. Oh, okay. You know what? I like this. BBZ does have the strength. I like when teams decide that they don't need to show up for no reason to watch, voyeuristically watch people through the window take buffs or like just give kills for no reason because they had to like watch the other team take a neutral objective. So I think it's smart. I think that they just keep accruing gold and CS on their carries on their laners and just play it out slowly for Art of War Esports. The early game has gone the way, so to speak, so far of BBZ. All of the gold, I will point out, or the majority of the gold, is in the bot side of the map. So if there was a place where they were going to get it online for the likes of Art of War Esports, I'd be looking at the Tristana,
Oh
which is going to
no.
be
Ariri just not
yeah.
able to stay alive. 2 seconds and removed from play once again. Squashed out as if they are a spider on the windowsill. Removed from play once again. Ariri is not very tanky either. Has those Moby boots and 1 cloth armor. It's about all that you can really build at this point. It's just not enough to deal with this Kalista.
Okay, a mid. So here's the thing. So this game, it's only 2k gold lead at 10 minutes. Not great, but it's not terrible. As long as they're able to maintain that gold difference, there's gonna be a fight here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, removing all the agency from Red has been able to stay alive despite all that crowd control. But on the back end of this, a mid will remove that from play. Finds the shutdown. Fireman goes golden as well, and all the damage has dried up. But Daisy working overtime. It's a double kill picked up by Lissandra, and now pop, 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 go the Frozen Thralls. It's a triple kill for Fireman out of that all transpire.
Well, they commit here to try and get the crash. Daisy comes through, and they're just cutting back. They don't have any idea that a mid is coming in from behind them. They see mid get in, is able to get the kill onto the Kalista. Might have to, try and die for it. Does the classic Tristana move to get in there. But, all this gold is going to trade across, and like we were just saying, or I was just saying, you wanted to maintain that gold difference. This fight, it looked really, really good for Art of War Esports for a minute there, that this was going to be the way to sort of even up that gold lead and counteract the gold going across from crashing the Herald and getting these plates with some kill gold, but then they ended up giving back so much with Fireman as passive, exploding one after another from getting a mid. That's the price that you pay with these Tristanas when you have to go in with the W to secure, and you take the W out. It doesn't always get you as far out as you need to. The point I was trying to make before that fight kicked off, I think the biggest thing here for Art of War Esports is you just want to make sure your Tristana scales into her items, and you get to Ornn to the point where he's handing out